if you are building AI workflow automations or AI agents for business use cases, one of the most important questions that you might be asking yourself is, where should I build this on? Should I build this on Make, n8n, or something else entirely? I have been there too. And over the past year, I have built tons of AI automation workflows and AI agents for different businesses and different use cases. And one of the things that I have learned is that it is very important to decide the right platform. Choosing the right platform really decides how scalable, reliable, and cost efficient your workflow will be. Yes, there are plenty of platforms out there like Zapier, Pabbly, among others. But I have mostly worked with Make.com and n8n, so I know their strengths inside out. In this video, I am going to break down a 3-step process that I personally follow to decide which is the right platform for a particular project, using real use cases with real client projects, so you don't have to waste your time building on the wrong one. By the way, hi, my name is n8n, a developer turned AI consultant and content creator. I build custom AI workflow automations and AI agents for businesses. And here on YouTube, I teach them and share my insights throughout my journey. So if this is something of your interest, consider subscribing. So without wasting any time, let's start. Whenever I get a project requirement, I make an analysis on these 3 steps. First, is it a linear execution or a dynamic one? Second, what are the different applications involved in this process? And the third, the cost and complexity of the workflow. Let's take them one by one. The first point is about the sequence. I have to decide if this is a linear sequence of execution or a dynamic one. What this means is, for example, we are working with a social media automation. We are pretty much aware that first it needs to do some scraping, then it needs to do some drafting, and then the third step is posting across different social media. It does not need to deviate from this linear execution pattern. On the other hand, if we are working with, let's say, calendar assistant, then it is equipped with different tools, but depending upon the message input, it has to decide whether it has to make a new entry in the calendar using the create entry tool, or update an entry in the calendar with reading and then followed by update records tool. In those cases, it is the work for an AI agent, and I go with n8n. Whereas for the linear executions, Make.com is preferred. This also stems from the difference between AI workflow and AI agents. If you are not familiar with the difference between the two, I would recommend you to watch this video over here. You can click the I button, or maybe I'll also recommend this at the end of this video. The second thing that I consider is the number of applications that it is interacting with. It is true that n8n also has a lot of applications inbuilt with their actions and possible triggers, but it is very limited in scope. Whereas if you compare it with Make.com, you have more than 2000 applications handy with their different actions and triggers involved. To give you an example, if you are working with a HubSpot CRM and you want to trigger the workflow whenever a status is changed on a card, it is really handy and directly available in Make.com how to configure it. Similarly for Monday.com or any other CRM. If you are expecting the same number of handy integrations in n8n, it is actually not there. And unless you are very comfortable working with the standard APIs using the HTTP calls, it might take you a little bit more time and complexity to execute the same project on n8n. So in that case, I would recommend to go with Make.com. Also, certain use cases where you need human in the loop approval or the requirement to run a JavaScript or a Python code between your workflow execution without calling a third-party service, then you can also consider n8n because it is handy with all these operations inbuilt. And the third factor is definitely the cost. You might have seen on the pricing section of Make.com and n8n that they price it differently. Make.com is priced based on the number of operations. These operations are module operations. So to give you an example, the workflow that you are looking at on the screen consists of a lot of different circles. These circles are called modules. And if your workflow is having 10 modules, then each execution of this workflow will require and charge you 10 operations, and you can do the math. Whereas if we are working with n8n, we know that it does not charge based on the modules. It just charges for the number of workflow executions. So it doesn't matter if you have a smaller 3 or 4 module workflow or maybe a 300 module workflow. n8n is only going to charge you one workflow execution for that run. This decision is derived from the complexity and the length of the workflow. If it is a smaller one, maybe cost wise it is better to go with Make, and if it is a larger one, definitely n8n is the way to go. There are also few more perks with n8n. If your size and operational requirements are too much, then maybe it is not very cost effective for you to use the cloud service on n8n. In that case, n8n offers you the flexibility to deploy it or self-host it on a Docker server or maybe even on your local system, with certain of course technicalities involved, but then you don't have to actually pay for every run based on the same pricing that n8n is charging on the cloud hosting. I hope these 3 points are very clear to you, and this will help you decide where to go and what platform to choose for your next project. In a nutshell, I would say that if you are a beginner and you are interacting with a lot of applications and it is a linear execution, you should go with Make. Otherwise, if AI agents are involved where dynamic path can be taken, as well as it is a very expanded and broad execution workflow which needs to be run very regularly, then maybe n8n is the way to go. And of course, put in the comments if you have any specific question around it. I hope this was clear and you liked this video. I really hope this was easy to follow. If you hit the like button, that would motivate me to make more such videos in the future. I really try to make it as easy as possible for anybody to understand and digest. And if you are a business who is looking for a custom AI automation or AI agent development, then you can book a discovery call with me using the link in the description below. You can also directly choose to email me at hi@mohitmirnal.com or connect with me over my LinkedIn, where I post AI insights on a daily basis. Consider subscribing because more walkthroughs, tutorials, and insight videos are coming soon.